If you're a videographer and you've been wanting to join the wedding industry and you're not sure how to get started and how to film your first wedding, then don't worry, I got you. Today we're gonna go over 7 tips on how to become a successful wedding videographer. You can definitely make a very profitable business doing weddings, but there's also great filming and business experience if you're looking to become a freelance videographer or entrepreneur of any kind. So grab onto your cameras, your gimbals, whatever you think you'll need, and let's get to it. So the first thing I would recommend is to do a few cheap weddings. Now by cheap, I don't mean free. I would highly suggest charging something for it. And I would start in the range of $500 to $1,000, depending on your area and how the wedding market is in your city. So the way that I got started, and I think this would work for a lot of people, is that I went on Facebook and I searched up a wedding Facebook group that had brides and grooms that were looking for services and help on their wedding. So I went on there and I posted something about a wedding videographer looking for some work to build a portfolio and charging cheap from $500 to $1,000. For my first few weddings, I charged $500, and that's how I got my first 2. And then I bumped up my price as soon as I had something that I was able to show my potential clients. So the key with posting this is to be very honest and very upfront and let people know that you have no prior experience doing weddings, but you're trying to build a portfolio, so you're giving it at a very discounted rate. So you definitely want to make sure that you're following all the rules and regulations of the Facebook group, but in no time after posting it, you'll find that you'll have a bunch of brides and grooms messaging you, letting you know that they want you to film their wedding because they're trying to save on budget, and $500 to $1,000 is pretty much almost nothing compared to what professional wedding videographers charge. So by making this post, you'll also have a lot of professional wedding videographers looking at your post. So you want to make sure that you include in there that you have no prior experience doing weddings, and this is basically to just start building your portfolio, but your prices will go up as soon as you do get those first few bookings. Nowadays, you can find some pretty good contract templates online, but I would highly suggest getting yourself a lawyer to write up a contract that will stand up in court depending on your city or state. All right, so my second tip is to be a second shooter. So once you've shot these first few weddings, you'll realize that the way that you film weddings is different than how you film anything else. So you wanna make sure you get some practice in. So how do you do that without messing up people's weddings? You wanna make sure you second shoot for somebody who is already an established professional. You can either go on Instagram, Facebook, or Google and search up your city wedding videographer and then see who pops up. Try to contact them, let them know you're just getting started and that you want to get some experience in and you're wondering if they're looking for a second shooter. Whenever you're going to second shoot for someone, you also want to make sure that there's a contract in place so that you know you can meet all of their expectations. Usually the established wedding professional will already have a contract in place that they use for outsourcing. Again, you want to make sure that you let whoever you're second shooting for know that you're just starting out, so you guys can go over any expectations, any concerns or doubts that you might have before the wedding day. Also, networking with local wedding vendors is a great way to meet new friends that are in the same industry, and also a great way to gain business and credibility, which is very important when it comes to getting new clients. There's always more to learn no matter what industry you're in, but as you know, weddings can get a little bit repetitive, but you want to make sure you don't get too comfortable and you're always changing things up and learning new things that you can implement into your wedding films. So the key here is that you always want to set aside some time for learning about something that you can implement into your business. You can watch wedding videography tutorials or behind the scenes of people in actual weddings. I know Who Is Matt has some great content on YouTube if you want to go check him out. And also if you want to listen to podcasts like How to Film Weddings, they have some incredible educational stuff that will help you become a better wedding filmmaker. So my fourth tip is to stay light and compact. What you want to do is you want to minimize as much as you can the amount of gear that you bring to a wedding day. I know usually for videographers, the more gear you have, the more professional you look, but for weddings, you want to stay compact, and this is because you're going to be moving around a lot, so the more compact you are, the more mobile you can be. This means travel light in case you have to walk long distances, and make sure you keep your load as light as possible. So when I first started doing weddings, I was all over the place with my gear. When it came to like reception time, I would have my gimbal and my backpack on one hand, and then my tripod and my lights on the other, and it would just be a complete mess trying to get through the doors and trying to get through people to go and set up for the actual reception. So what I learned the hard way is that you want to have bags and carts in order to carry all your gear to make sure that you are not stumbling all over people and that you still look professional. A big one is also not to leave gear behind. Believe it or not, this happens a lot more than you think, where you be thinking that you got all your gear, you're ready to go, you pack up, you leave, and then once you get home, you realize, oh man, I forgot my batteries that I was charging in the walls, or I forgot my light stand that I put towards the corner. So you wanna make sure that you grab all of your gear and that you put them precisely where you took them from, and that way you make sure that you're not forgetting anything. Let me know if you want me to make a video about what gear I bring to a wedding day and how I keep everything light and compact. Let me know in the comments down below. So my fifth tip is you want to make sure to learn the business aspect of running your own wedding videography business. Everything that you will learn building a wedding videography business, you can implement into becoming a freelance videographer. You want to make sure you learn how to talk to clients professionally, over the phone, in person, over text, and email. You want to make sure that you're prompt and professional at all times. Like I mentioned before, you want to make sure you have a solid contract that covers you for your services, rescheduling, payments, and video delivery. You also want to make sure you're able to educate your clients and letting them know the importance of having video at their wedding. You want to make sure you let them know what they can expect on the day of the wedding, and also what they can expect from the final video. Also in the contract, don't forget to include how long the video will be. You want to make sure you learn how to use a CMS to keep track of your clients, contracts, questionnaires, and your revenue. The CMS that I would recommend and that I use is HoneyBook. So tip number 6 is to prepare for each wedding. So the last thing you want to do is show up at a wedding unprepared, not knowing what's going on, and being just completely clueless the entire day. So this is where a wedding questionnaire comes in handy. You want to make sure you get your couples to fill out a wedding questionnaire about a month in advance before the actual wedding, to make sure that you have all the accurate information that you need in order to stay up to date with everything that's going on throughout the wedding day. Now you want to make sure all your gear is charged, packed, and loaded up into your vehicle, probably the day before, so you make sure that you don't forget anything. And also be careful with memory cards, because I have forgotten quite a few memory cards, and it's a total nightmare. Believe me, you don't want that. So last but not least, and number 7 is to be present and in the moment. So what do I mean by that? Well, as videographers, we focus a lot on the tech, the camera, the lenses, the audio, you name it. But on the actual wedding day, you want to make sure that you are present and in the moment so that you can feel and vibe with the couple and the actual event itself. If on a wedding day you're focused on all this tech stuff, you're going to miss all the genuine emotions that are presently happening in front of you, and that way you're not going to be able to capture it on actual film the way it's supposed to, and it won't feel the same when it's translated into video. Well, that's pretty much it. Those were the 7 tips on how to become a successful wedding videographer. I hope you guys were able to take some of these tips and apply them, and hopefully benefit from them. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer those for you. If you enjoyed this video, and I really hope you did, make sure you hit that like button, smash the notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.